Coming up on the November 13th edition of Carolina Week, last week we told you that you might be paying too much for the computers you buy from the university. Tonight, is the university misleading students about the benefits of the computers it sells? A Carolina Week exclusive.
Students exercising an everyday sight at Carolina, but all may not be well beneath the surface.
And we'll introduce you to one special university employee who's guaranteed to make you smile. All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Jenny McClendon.
And I'm Alex Lawson. Thanks for joining us for the November 13th edition of Carolina Week.
Our top story tonight, students have reported 2 laptop thefts on campus in recent weeks. One in Lenoir Dining Hall, another in the undergraduate library. A thief almost got away with a 3rd laptop in Davis Library on Friday. Police are looking for this man in connection with the thefts. If you have any information about these crimes, call Crime Stoppers at 942-7515 or UNC investigators at 966-2120. Speaking of laptops, new developments this week in our investigation into the price students pay for computers bought through the Carolina Computing Initiative.
Carolina Week's Michael Haney joined us now with the details. Michael?
Last week we showed you how much money you could save if you didn't buy a laptop through the university, but some students say they didn't think they had an option.
The Carolina Computing Initiative requires every incoming student to buy a laptop computer. CCI offers IBM laptops, but students don't have to buy those machines as long as their computer meets a certain list of specifications. Still, some students say they felt pressured to buy a CCI laptop.
I suppose I didn't realize I could just go get my own and have the software put on. They told us that you could, but they made it seem like it wasn't quite as good a quality.
Information and Library Science professor Greg Newby agrees.
I believe that most of the students that purchase a CCI computer do so either because they believe they have to, there's just not much choice, or because they read through the materials and they were essentially afraid to go off the menu.
CCI sends this brochure to every new student, advertising the IBM laptops. The brochure says only with the purchase of a CCI laptop will you be eligible for all the programs and services below. Those services include an on-campus award-winning repair center, computer support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and pre-tested and approved compatibility with the Carolina Campus Network. But each of those services is available to all students, regardless of where they bought their laptops, and nearly all PCs will work on the campus network. Hodges says the brochure is confusing.
I felt like I had to get that one, and that I needed this software that they put on it.
Then there's the issue of insurance. The CCI laptops come with an insurance policy, and students can't opt out of it. The policy costs an extra $223 on the T30 and $171 on the R31. Most homeowners' policies cover everything covered in this policy, with the exception of accidental damage, floods, and earthquakes. In October, students filed only 28 accidental damage claims, and we don't often have floods or earthquakes in North Carolina. Because of the overall cost and add-ons they say they don't need, some students say buying a CCI computer wasn't as great as it sounded.
We thought we were getting a really good deal getting the ones through the school instead of having to go out and try to shop for a laptop somewhere else and then bring it back and get the computer software put on it.
Newby says it all comes down to economics.
They wanted to sell some computers, and they have sold a lot of computers.
CCI has sold close to 30,000 IBM laptops during the past 5 years. Officials have declined our request for an on-camera interview, but CCI's chairman Steve Gerald told me by phone that the brochure never says students must buy a CCI laptop. It just strongly encourages it. And in relation to last week's story, Gerald says CCI now plans to cut the price of the laptops for next year's students. Jenny?
Thanks, Michael. This could be something you've heard this week.
Hi, Catherine. This is Lindsay Parker. You don't know me. I was actually calling to invite you to a campus-wide event called After Dark.
What are you doing after dark? That's the question many Carolina students have been asked by phone this week. Several campus Christian groups are hosting a concert Wednesday night, and they're trying to call all undergrads to spread the word. Some students think the phone publicity is annoying. Others say it got their attention.
I guess it gives more of a personal touch because everybody gets so much email now. Like, it's just a message from your teacher or from a friend, like you just delete it automatically without reading it. So I guess it gives a personal touch, but at the same time, people who don't believe in Christianity might feel offended.
After Dark will be Wednesday night at 8 o'clock in Carmichael Gym. While some Carolina students are being flooded with phone calls, others are getting a lot of email. The Greek Affairs office opened up a new listserv Tuesday afternoon for all the fraternity and sorority members. That's about 20% of undergraduate students. But the listserv was set up without any restrictions, and some students went on an emailing spree, sending out more than 100 messages in less than 2 hours. Because of a programming error, the director of Greek Affairs didn't receive any of the messages. The director quickly shut down the listserv, but it's open again today with a moderator to filter out unnecessary emails.
Some resident advisors say Carolina's compensation package lags behind those of other universities. For instance, Carolina RAs have to pay up to $700 a semester for a single room, while RAs at NC State and ECU get free single rooms. RAs here get $200 per semester for food. NC State provides its RAs with an unlimited meal plan, and ECU RAs get 9 free meals per week. But staff coordinator Kayla Hamilton says Carolina's compensation package is more than adequate when compared to other public schools.
At some schools, they get free room and board and they don't get paid. At other schools, they'll get paid a little bit more, but then they have to pay for their room and board. And so I feel like we're in a pretty middle.
Hamilton says Carolina pays RAs $3,500 a year, while NC State RAs make $1,200 and ECU RAs get only $400.
Coming up on Carolina Week, you'd be surprised where you can find some of the unhealthiest students on campus.
We'll have that story right after the break.
What's wrong, Mrs. Jenkins? Come on, you can tell me.
Well, there's no funding for the new reading program, and I've tried everything and nothing works. It's not fair. Nobody ever gives me funding.
When adults run out of ideas, they can feel as frustrated as kids. ConnectForKids.org has thousands of resources for helping kids in your community.
Mrs. Jenkins, holding your breath is not going to get you any more funding.
ConnectForKids.org, guidance for grown-ups.
Okay, guys, time for takeoff. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start! Wow! Whoa, look at that! Is that Jupiter?
Hey kids, it's time to go to the planetarium.
Moorhead Planetarium, where dreams become reality.
Health officials say many Americans need to hit the gym and lose some weight.
Ann Chafee tells us some people who need to lose weight the least are the ones working hardest at it.
Too much of a good thing can be bad. That goes for exercise too.
Somebody who compulsively exercises might exercise 3 hours a day. They will plan their schedule around exercise. They'd feel guilty if they weren't able to exercise.
And it can definitely go beyond pleasure.
They would miss like work or parties or social things to go exercise.
Some people say compulsive exercise happens here on campus at the SRC.
I've seen girls who I've come in earlier to sign up for machines, and I've seen them in here exercising, and a couple of hours later, seriously, when I get here to exercise, they're still here exercising.
The SRC staff has noticed too.
We do try to address the issues, speak to the individual, and suggest that perhaps that they might want to look at speaking to a nutritionist.
Or a therapist. Social worker Michelle Johnson says a lot of times excessive exercise and disordered eating go hand in hand.
Because they feel like they don't have any control, they start controlling what they take into their body or restrict what they take into their body. And exercise is another way of controlling.
But control can get out of hand.
Even if they're hurt or they've fractured something, they want to exercise.
No pain, no gain.
The pain, even if they felt it, it's not as important as them exercising the 3 hours that they need to exercise that day.
Johnson says if you think someone close to you might have this problem, talk to them about what you've noticed, but avoid confrontation. That won't help the situation. In Chapel Hill, I'm Ann Chafee, Carolina Week.
Both Counseling and Psychological Services and the Center for Healthy Student Behaviors work with students with this or any other problems.
Those numbers to reach them are 966-3658 and 966-6586. In this week's Speak Out segment, we ask students, how much of a role does exercise play in your daily routine?
Pretty much walking about the mile to class from South Campus is my daily routine, but I've probably come to the SRC and exercise about anywhere from like 2 to 3 times a week.
I usually come here 5 days a week, and it's just a good way to not think about schoolwork and just to get rid of some extra stress that you have.
Normally I'm just sitting around studying or sitting around and I feel like I should get up and move. So I try to exercise every day. Usually I run about 50 miles a week, so that's about anywhere from like 7 to 10 a day because I usually take 1 day off and then lift 3 times a week. But right now I'm injured, so I'm cross-training.
Our sample isn't scientific, and we're sure there's variation in how often students exercise.
In this week's medical report, pancreatic cancer is the 5th leading cause of cancer deaths in this country, and it's incurable. Health reporter Gretchen Decker has more about one North Carolina woman and the family she left behind.
Happy birthday, Joe.
This is home video of Joanne Lane celebrating her 57th birthday shortly before she died 2 years ago.
Look at this, Miss Aubrey. Aww.
She was one of about 28,000 Americans who died from pancreatic cancer that year. Lane's son, Alan Huter, says he had never heard of pancreatic cancer before his mother's illness. He soon learned that 80% of people who have the disease die within a year.
As far as them saying it's pancreatic cancer, well, to me, that was just like saying any kind of cancer. I had no clue that it was pretty much a death sentence.
Pancreatic cancer symptoms can include pain in the upper abdomen or back, yellow skin and eyes, dark urine, loss of appetite, nausea and vomiting, and weight loss.
This is the pancreas. It's about 6 inches long, located behind the stomach. It makes hormones that help the body use and store energy from food. Researchers say when cancer develops, it is particularly aggressive.
Really, we don't understand what it is that specifically makes pancreatic cancer as serious a disease as it is.
Not knowing what triggers pancreatic cancer frustrates scientists and people like Huter. He misses his mother and her giving spirit.
It's just totally amazing to me that a person who is that sick and knows that, death is certainly a very high possibility can take their, focus off themselves and put it on, the people around them.
Lane lived with cancer for 9 months before she died. Huter and his family took that time to say goodbye. In Fuquay-Varina, I'm Gretchen Decker, Carolina Week.
Despite the serious nature of pancreatic cancer, scientists who study the disease receive little federal money for research.
Weather anchor Jason Myers is with us now.
Tell you what, Jason, it has been a weird week of weather. Hot, cold, rain,
It really has.
sunshine, just a little bit of everything.
A lot of rain this past week, and that kind of goes along with our weather question. Let's go to that, and that is October 11th set a new record for the most rainfall in one day with 5.33 inches. What was the previous record? 3.25, 5.12, or 9.6 inches? I'll have your answer and the weekend forecast when we return.
Oh, hey, mister. Studied algebra in school and got a better job than I could. You take the last couple.
Oh, no, mister. Stuck in an entry-level job because you only learned basic math. I don't have a boss riding my butt like you do, so you take it so you can get back to your desk.
You know, I probably should, but maybe Miss AP Calculus with the $200 haircut in the big office upstairs would like a cup.
Oh, no, Mr. What was your name again? Never mind, it doesn't matter. I'm too busy doing important things to care. I just came down for some sweet and start.
You know, if my limited math abilities weren't keeping me from getting a better job, I'd quit this afternoon.
I don't blame you. But thank goodness you're stuck here because we really need someone to make the coffee.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. We started the week off rainy, and it's been cold too, but today the sun finally made it outdoors and people were able to go outside and enjoy some of the fall foliage. It has been beautiful with the leaves changing, and right now we are in the peak in the Piedmont area, but with the rain it's taken down some of the leaves, and the foothills and the mountains are already past their peak. So if you want to see any leaves, they're right here in this area. But if we look at the satellite map, we can see where we've had some of the rain and what we have right now. We've had those clouds move off the area, and now we're going to have a high pressure system coming in over our area for the next couple of days. But for this weekend, as we look at the surface map, we can see that we have a low pressure system that's going to be coming up. The high pressure system is over our area right now, but when the low pressure system comes up from the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to bring a lot of moisture with it. And we're going to have below normal temperatures, so we could even maybe see a little bit of snow towards the mountains. But right now we do have that high pressure over our area, so get out and enjoy the sunshine while you can. If we look at our 4-day forecast, we can see the temperatures are going to be a little bit below normal as we go throughout our 4 days. On Friday, we'll have a high of 62, and it will be mostly cloudy. The clouds will start to really come in more later, but it will start getting really cloudy on Friday. We'll have a low of 38. On Saturday, we'll start to see our rain come towards our area, and especially more towards Saturday night and into Sunday. And our temperatures will be cool. 55 will be our high on Saturday and a low of 40 degrees. And on Sunday, it will be even cooler, a high of 45 degrees and a low of 42, and another rainy day. So make sure you have your umbrella handy and have a jacket if you're going to be going outside. It's probably best to stay indoors. On Monday, it's going to be cloudy and a high of 48 degrees and a low of 38. If you're going to be going down towards the beach, it's also going to be the same type of weather pattern. It's going to be cool. 62 will be the high on Saturday and a low of 45, and it'll go a little cooler on Sunday with a high of 55 and a low of 45 at the beach, and it will be rainy on Saturday and on Sunday. If you're going to be going towards the mountains, it will be the same story. It will be a little cooler there. 45 will be the high, and 38 will be our low, rainy on Saturday and on Sunday again. 45 will be our high on Sunday, and 35 will be our low. If you're going to be going towards the Florida, which will be where our game is going to be held, it will be rainy, so you'll make sure you have your umbrella. We'll have a high in the 60s, a high around 60 degrees in Tallahassee, Florida. But does anyone have an answer to our weather question?
Mr. Broders.
I'm going to go with the 5.12.
That's a good guess. It's actually C, 4.96, and that was with Hurricane Fran, when Hurricane Fran came through. So we made a new record in October with the amount of rain.
Looking good. Is there any chance, Jason, that rain in the mountains this weekend might turn into snow? I'm headed up there, and I would love some snow.
There is a slight chance. We're going to keep an eye on that, but we'll see. We might not really see any snow towards this area, maybe towards later into the season.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
Mr. Broders joins us now with sports. Our volleyball team, women's volleyball team, they're on a roll, and the tournament's right around the corner.
They are doing great this year. Best start in school history, and we'll tell you about it. They had a game last week. We'll tell you all about that coming up in sports. But coming up after sports, a rabbit's foot, a four-leaf clover, a lucky penny. Which one is a secret performance enhancer? We'll probe that sports mystery when Carolina Week continues.
Invested in a mutual fund 20 years ago returned $452. $50 in the United Negro College Fund returned an award-winning actor. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
The danger dog will bite your ankle. The danger dog will bite your ear. The danger dog will bite your bottom. If you come near, that's the danger dog. Dog.
Want to feel appreciated? When you spend time with kids, anytime, it helps prevent crime.
And welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. The Carolina volleyball team is cruising. The Heels will be the top seed in the conference tournament following a big win against Virginia Tuesday night. The big wigs on hand. Director of Athletics Dick Bedore making the appearance. Earlier on, the Heels are in control, slamming the Cavs, taking a 2-0 advantage. But the Wahoos wouldn't go down easy. UVA comes back to win the game 3 and force another game. However, it simply delayed the inevitable as Molly Piles closed the match with this kill. Heels win 3-1. The Heels are now 26-2 on the year and 13-1 in conference play. After the game, Malika Underwood spoke about this weekend's upcoming matches versus Florida State and Maryland.
We get 2 big wins. I mean, we lost to Florida State a couple weeks ago, so we want to revenge that, and then we want to play strong against Maryland. They're a good team.
In the men's soccer team's regular season finale, Coach Elmar Bolowicz needed a win to become the winningest coach in the program's history. And it's senior night at Fetzer Field as the Heels get into it with the Gamecocks from South Carolina. In the first half, Marcus Story breaks away from the pack and puts a bulge in the onion bag to give the Heels a 1-0 lead. The Heels don't need any help after that, but they get it from South Carolina. Mike Gell's shot goes off a South Carolina defender, and Carolina ends its season with a W. Bolowicz 175th. Gell says the sky's the limit as the Heels head into the postseason.
You know, we can go all the way. It's just a matter of coming out every game and just busting it and playing well. And if we come out and play our best each game, we can beat anyone in the country.
The Heels begin their postseason quest on Thursday at the ACC tournament in Cary. Entering last Friday's ACC tournament at 9-10, Carolina's field hockey team faced an unlikely scenario: win the entire tournament or not make the NCAA tournament for the first time in 20 seasons. Fourth-ranked Maryland and the Heels both unleashed their physical styles during the match, but it's Carolina that jumps out to an early 2-0 lead with goals from sophomores Katie Potter and Carrie Falkowski. The Heels, however, would see that lead evaporate in the second half. U of M stays patient and eventually ties the game at 2 in the 53rd minute. Neither team can muster another score, and the contest moves to sudden death overtime. In the extra frame, it's Carolina that sinks the Heels in the 83rd minute when Jackie Sacante slips this shot by Amy Train for the 3-2 victory. Despite not making the NCAAs, Coach Karen Sheldon is proud of her team's efforts.
I've had better records, but I've never had a better team. We fought hard through adversity throughout the course of the year. They bounced back every time. Their attitudes never diminished. They kept a clear head and focus throughout the course of the year. They never quit.
Well, we've all heard of a broken mirror that brings 7 years of bad luck, but have you ever thought a special headband or pair of socks could help your athletic performance? Brittany McGraw tells us the superstitions of a few Carolina athletes and what effect they really have on the game.
Some are quirky, some are unusual, and some are just downright strange. Though these adjectives might apply to some of Carolina's athletes, they better describe these athletes' superstitions. Superstitions such as soccer player Annie Morrell's need to sit in the same spot at each team meeting.
If I'm not in that spot before the other person gets there, then it throws me off. I have to get her to leave the room, and then I have to come in again.
Place kicker Dan Orner's superstition is all in the bag.
My green laundry bag, I think that's my best luck. I've missed, the only time I've missed is when I used a red bag. So, I mean, I don't know if it really plays a part, but I think it helps for the mind, definitely.
Sports psychologist John Silva agrees that the positive or negative effects of a superstition are all in an athlete's head.
An athlete might, want to wear a certain piece of apparel to the ballpark or to the locker room pre-game, and they think that this is like my lucky piece of apparel. Yet that's an inanimate object, and that inanimate object has no relationship whatsoever, to the player actually playing well.
Those lucky wristbands or that essential pregame snack may have no bearing on the game, but for many athletes, breaking superstitions or rituals may have detrimental effects. Silva suggests that in place of superstitions, athletes develop a regular routine and good habits, like those of basketball player Jennifer Thomas and her teammates.
Everyone really just sits in their same seat on the bus, and like when we're in our huddles, we're always in the same spot, but I think that's more of by habit than our superstition.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Brittany McGraw, Carolina Week.
According to Dr. Silva, highly superstitious and ritualized behavior is often a sign of anxiety. Well, the first regular season basketball game is Monday, but 2 players may not suit up for the game. The NCAA handed seniors Will Johnson and Jonathan Holmes a 2-game suspension for playing in an unsanctioned charity event. Carolina has appealed the decision, and the decision will come Friday. Well, guys, one final note to pass along. The women's soccer team, we talked about the men. The women start their NCAA tournament Friday at home against Radford at 5 p.m. So, see if they can get on the national championship.
Let's hope so.
Thanks, Rick.
No problem.
Appreciate it. She greets you with a smile every weekday as she swipes your one card at Top of Lenoir.
We'll introduce you to her when Carolina Week returns.
Hey, we tried already.
Don't tell me to calm down. I hate that.
Stop acting like an animal. You're in public.
I will knock you into next week. Stop it. No, I'm not going to stop it. That's it. We are leaving
Acting like an
right
animal.
now. We are leaving right now. Get up. Stand up. I said right now. I said we're leaving.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
If you're having a bad day, there's one woman in Lenoir Hall who's guaranteed to make you smile.
Her name is Vel Dowdy. You'll find her swiping cards, making jokes, and just being herself.
You forgot your umbrella this morning?
You'd think she's worked here forever,
I like your hair.
but she's worked here for only 3 years.
Here they come. Thank you.
She brightens the days of many Carolina students. Just ask sophomore Kim Lyko.
She's always very pleasant. Like, she's always asking how our weekends were on when we come back on Monday, and she's always smiling, and like, she says that we make her day, but she makes ours.
As for Vel, she says the students really make her job worthwhile.
I love the students. That's it. The place is all right. It's good. It's easy. It's a pie job. And if anybody want to give this job up, they're crazy, because it's a pie job. It's easy. But I really enjoy the students because they're a trip. They make me laugh.
Vel has become so popular that she's already been a model for a Halloween costume.
The reaction that I got was awesome because everyone who was on Franklin Street who comes here regularly, which is a lot of students, knew exactly who I was.
Vel's attitude hasn't always been this cheerful. She's made some adjustments.
And knowing how my attitude, it hurts me a lot. It hurted me more than it did help me. So I had to change it. It took me a long time to change it, but I had to change it. I learned how to be more patient, more nicer, and just speak and laugh and go on about your business.
It's plain and simple for Vel.
I'm doing my job, speaking, being kind to the customers. You know, they're a customer. I have to, because they pay my salary, they pay my bills, so I have to treat them like a customer.
A simple rule, the golden one, can make a big difference.
It's nice to have someone who's just there, who is just doing their job but happens to make people happy just like by being who they are.
Vel says she's also thankful for students who've helped her 11-year-old daughter with her school projects. They've gotten research material from the library, and also want to add that she was also Employee of the Month for the month of October. So that's good news for her.
Yeah. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Have a good night and a good week.
Good night.